Welcome to the Watching Now podcast from Couch Soup. We are talking about Daredevil Born Again, episode 8 today. It's the second to last of the season. Woof. This it's gone quite quickly and quite slowly at the same time. What do you say about that, Tom?
It's definitely felt like a hot fucking minute since we've had anything good from the show.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I don't know what. Stop it. Stop it. I'm just making weird noises. This
You
is what
are.
I'm doing. As you can tell, we are depleted this week. We have my friend Tom,
Hi.
and you have me, who is not my friend at the moment. It's just me. Ian, hi. We don't have Lily today. She is having some issues technically, and also Katie, who did she get invited to some surprise party thing? But
It's like a rap party for a job she was doing.
oh, well, good for Katie, eh? Well, so, having a party when we're all on talking about Daredevil Born Again. I don't know where she'd rather be, to be
Selfish,
fair.
selfish bastards.
It's,
It's
it's,
fine.
but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not jealous about parties and internet issues. Definitely partially.
But
What the hell did you just say?
So you get into the episode then. Let's do a non-spoiler review for episode 8. Tom, what did you think of this episode?
it's as if there was anyone else to throw to.
I know.
Yeah, I like this one a lot better. I think you can definitely tell that it's now the new directing and writing team that come in because just tonally, why couldn't it be like this from the entire time? I enjoyed it, but it does shine a light on how mediocre a lot of the other episodes have been.
I think it's right to say that we have been the grumpier two out on this podcast about Daredevil Born Again. Um,
Yeah,
I have been particularly scathing about most of these episodes.
you've been a bit of
Um,
a Grinch.
I've been a little bit of Grinch, a little bit of a dick, you might call me.
You're such a dick!
I think my points have been fairly reasonable over the weeks, but today I am going to be less of a grumpy guts. I thought the beginning was a little bit rough, as always, and there's a very specific reason about that. But it was an episode of two halves, I thought, and the latter stage was actually really good. I really enjoyed myself. I don't think anyone
Mm.
in the show really enjoyed themselves at that point, but
No,
yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. There's some really good bits in the latter half of this episode.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Why couldn't it have been?
Just from the get-go.
Yeah, but this from the get-go, man. Just
Look, that again, that's like I think I mentioned just before we start recording, and because you said as well that if next week's also is good, then they're just going to drum up so much more hype for season two, but just kind of makes season one feel like pointless in terms of like quality and shit. So I kind of would almost preferred if they just scrapped most of this and just tacked an extra 3 or 4 episodes onto season two,
mm,
where then you had then have a consistent tone and story. Because we'll get into some things that they just kind of have now just gone, okay, all done. We're moving on from these story beats, which
yeah,
is kind of lame when you've only got 2 episodes left.
yeah. And now we've got one episode left, and there's still a few things that we know is happening in this last episode, and it's just it doesn't feel right to be in this season of the show. It just doesn't feel
No,
right. But I'm not being the grumpy guts at the moment. It was a lot better, so I'm happy to have had a good episode to talk about today. Hooray!
the delayed. Hooray.
Hooray! Let's just go to the fucking spoilers, guys.
Just
Let's
kind
just go to
of
the spoilers. Let's just go spoilers. I said guys as
uh,
well. It's just us. It's just us here. I want to start with the thing that annoyed me from from the get-go. You
Yes.
know, last week I said I really enjoyed the Vanessa. Did she try and get her husband killed by Luca or not? And and I did like suggest that probably in the first 2 seconds of this episode, so she'll probably say, remember when I led Luca to his doom to just for you? That happened. That happened in the first like minute. Vanessa confirmed that she's on Fisk's side, and that was just too soon of a reveal for me. That
Hold your horses!
come on, just let there be some ambiguity for a little bit longer, please. Just a little bit longer.
That's fair, but I feel like that plot also was a holdover from the old team, and I think in their old vision, she probably went against Fisk and was like blah blah, and they had a fight. But I think with the new stuff, they just went, okay, we can just sort of again one of the like three or four plot lines we can just go gone
Yeah.
because now they're happy together again, and it's not an issue. Don't worry
Mm.
about it.
Happens a bit too quickly for me. And it goes straight into what the confirmation that she's on his side as well in the next like scene. I know it
Wait,
jumps back and forth, and this is where it was a bit. Um, this is where this season has lost me in its pacing, where it keeps flitting back between storylines and not taking its time with one scene. And I know why they're doing it because they're trying to mirror what Matt and Heather are doing to Vanessa and Fisk, where like Fisk and Vanessa are getting closer together because they're being more criminal. And Heather and Matt are getting further apart because Matt's embracing his devil side. Yeah, I understand what they're trying to do there, but it was so flitting across the scene so much that it was kind of losing me at that point.
because I've noticed that a lot more too, especially in the recent episodes. I feel like them doing it once in the with the fights. I think it was when it was Matt versus Muse and Fisk beating up Adam. I think that's where it worked because
Yeah.
that's where the parallels. But like yeah, so with stuff like this where it's like the serious scenes where it's just like just talking and then some shooting. Um, I think yeah, it doesn't work as well. But speaking of that, I did enjoy it after taking out the cuts and stuff. The conversation between Vanessa and Fisk with Adam, I did like that because it had that sort of foreboding feel. Like you knew she wasn't going to side with Adam because she had
Yeah.
just about the Lucas stuff already, so you already knew she was on her side, like his side, like he said. But it was still cool to have that interaction with Vanessa and Adam, even if she does like pop his like shoot him like three or four times, just like
Mhm.
bam. It's like okay, you can go girl, girl power. Um,
I liked the way that Adam tried to do the Fisk Vanessa at one point. He was going, Vanessa,
Vanessa.
Vanessa. Like, nah, man, you can't do the Fisk Vanessa. Fisk can only do that one. I also really liked the way that Fisk was fixated on his hands.
I hear his voice. I see his hands. It's unbearable.
he's just like self-conscious.
So it's like he knows that he's got like blue collar workman hands which has got calluses because he fights all the time or used to. And the other guy Adam has really nice, delicate hands because he's an artist.
He's got
Um,
baby hands.
he's got baby hands.
He got some baby hands. I do not have baby hands.
So he was fixated on them even up to the end until Vanessa shot him to death.
Not what happens when you get shot.
Yep. Yeah,
Except for maybe later on. I'll flip into something that maybe annoyed. I don't like Heather now. Like I was indifferent towards her,
don't like
but
Heather now.
no, because I was indifferent and like I was like not vibing too much with the character. But then with her, conversation she had with Matt about like vigilantes and how like oh Devil's just as bad as Muse, and Matt's like yeah, but like he saved you, you'd be dead. And she's like no, they're just boys playing dress up. I'm just like fucking what, bitch?
There are just these underdeveloped boys hiding behind masks, trying to make it look like something more sophisticated.
And then like how she's like swung so hard to like the pro Fisk anti-vigilante. It's like, you know what? I hope you get killed now, or at least
Mm.
have a big old breakup with Matt because he deserves better than you.
He's been a bit of a dick as well, to be
Yeah,
fair.
being a bit of a dick, but also I've
Yeah, I don't like Heather. I don't like Heather. I didn't last week she said to Muse, people who wear masks are cowards, and she's projecting that onto Daredevil, even though Daredevil saved her fucking life.
yeah, which it could be a trauma thing because nearly died by a masked person, but then also I don't think the show spends enough time to sort of elaborate on that. It just kind of goes, essentially just says, Heather now thinks vigilante all bad, pro Fisk. There's no that not a moment where like we have see her like sort of like sit in her feels about it to like sort of get her point of view. It just comes across as she's a dick now.
But like I get sort of get why she is pro Fisk as well, because she kind of knows him
That is true.
and knows him. I'm not saying vulnerable because he doesn't seem very vulnerable in those marriage counseling sessions, but
Be all of two of them.
yeah, yeah, that we've seen. But yeah, she's kind of friends with him, like, and in a, like a, I suppose not friends because it's a client doctor thing.
Yeah, now I'm just going to pivot to stuff that I liked about this. One, I liked how Matt is spiraling this entire episode. It was just fun to watch it happen. Like, because again, compared to the previous episodes where like Matt seems sort of like stagnant, at least from like personality wise, up until
Yeah,
only recently he started to do some stuff. Now it feels like he is spiraling, especially at the door when is it Buck?
yeah.
Yeah, when he comes to the door and just knocks and just like the head peek in and you just see Matt go like, "Oh, if she wasn't here, you'd be fucking dead."
Not today. Not tomorrow. But I'm gonna kill you.
Like your ass would be on the ground if Vanessa, not if Heather was not here. I did enjoy that. Like, and that's what I liked throughout this entire episode was just Matt's basically spiral downwards.
Book kind of interests me because like he's not done a lot, but what he has done is done like quite coolly.
Like he hasn't done a lot, but he's also done a bit.
He
And like,
killed Luca. He's trying to broker peace between the families. Annoyed Matt quite a lot.
that's the main one. I have a feeling he might have just been the Fisk right hand, but I think his performance specifically is also really well. Like he knows what the role is, and cause I forgot what the actor's name is, because
Yeah,
it's not the Galdafini dude. He's the fucking loser. Who
how dare you disparage Daniel Blake?
again, that's such it's such a basic ass name. Aside from disliking Heather's character, um, I liked everything else in this scene with them two.
His name's Artie Frushan.
See, that's a
I've
fun name.
I've definitely butchered that, but it's Artie Frushan. I want to leave Dex to the end because Dex is
Yeah,
where
he was the best bit.
he's absolutely the best bit. There's loads of stuff here that I really liked when Dex got involved. I'm kind of surprised with that. I remember him being really good in the third series of Daredevil, on Netflix, but I'm surprised that his inclusion has lifted this up to the degree it has done. But let's leave him to where he is at the moment. Let's talk about Cherry and Kirsten and how we don't care.
There was a moment where I sort of cared. It's when they were in the bar and Matt was talking with Cherry and like trying to figure out Foggy's death and everything. And they had the flashback
Hmm.
about, and Matt's like, no, he was celebrating early. I first thought for a second Kirsten set Foggy up, and I still think she may maybe set him up a little bit because like yeah, as they were drinking, like I don't know why they would focus on that. If anything, they would just focus on the beer, maybe like Foggy being happy. But no, they showed Kirsten there as well. I'm like,
Well, Foggy was trying to chat her up.
he was, but then also was that intentional on her part to get him a bit drinking, so he then wasn't paying much enough attention to then get See that this is now the rabbit hole. Like this is baseless and wrong, probably, but it could also be really interesting if Kirsten's in league with Vanessa.
Oh, that would be
And
really interesting. It would actually make me care a little bit more about Kirsten.
yeah,
Um,
because yeah, everything else in this episode with like when they were in the hearing with their client, who's a total fucking shitbag.
mhm.
Um, she kind of just felt there, and her development from her stuff from last week, she's like, I just want you guys to talk to me about all this sort of stuff. That was just like non-existent. It was just like, so Matt, what are you doing? This gave me this, even if it's false hope that her character can sort of have more of an impact. But then again, I also like Matt scene in those bits with Kirsten, how he just sort of is like, nah, fuck this shit. We're doing nothing here.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Yeah, I liked that attitude. I didn't like the exposition dump, like the oh, let me reel off all the reasons why I'm spiraling.
Yeah.
It's because of all these reasons that we've established throughout the season. Just let's reference each one so that it makes those episodes actually relevant and not a waste of time.
I would agree with that. I think that is because they've got the new team and they're like, oh, what if people just skip from episode
Mm,
one to now? Maybe we got to put in some reminders. But I did like staying on that area when Matt called out the client for lying.
yeah.
And he's like, it's like, dude, you're just outing yourself now. Like he's walking around without his cane doing like the blind thing, and
Hmm.
he's just listening and just accusing people of lying. It's like, dude, how do people not know yet? Like this is that
No.
he leaves blood everywhere when he fights. He doesn't change his voice, and now he's blatantly just showing that he doesn't need his cane.
Why is everyone so fucking stupid?
Yeah, Josie
He can
even
just
calls it out, didn't she, in the bar? She
yeah,
was like, he didn't take his cane. Ah, it's fine. Terry's
did
like, ah, it's fine, don't worry about it. He does that sometimes. He must be okay.
Cherry kind of did fucking nothing besides just try to be like a pep, not a pep talk, like a talk with Matt. It's like I know we say we both like this episode more, and we've just been a
Mhm.
bit negative Nancy, but like that's like kind of like the last big thing that I was like meh with was
Yeah.
Cherry. Again, similar. He's in a similar boat to Kirsten, where there's just he hasn't had no real agency in the show besides just being sort of like a he's my detective person. But even then, that only was in one episode, and after that, it's just sort of like
Yeah. He
so.
he's here again to serve a purpose, and his purpose this time was to tell Matt what drink Foggy was drinking on the night of his death. That's
Mm.
that's all he was there for.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because I'm sure his character could be interesting. It's just it's not.
Let's talk about Poindexter. I do think there's a bit of Dex in at the start, and there's a bit of Dex in the middle of the first half, which are really good scenes. But where this episode turns around for me is right around when the party starts to start.
Mhm.
I think everything from the party onwards was really was really good. So Dex at the start gets moved from isolation to Gen Pop.
General. Yeah.
And it seems like Fisk has moved him, which is fine, like but that sort of tells me either Fisk goes back on his word or Fisk didn't
No,
do it. Fisk
no,
didn't contract him.
because remember he's this was a consequence of Matt becoming Daredevil again. Because like being put into a general population means Matt could see him. So the fact that he Fisk moved him because he mentions it later on, it's like this is the consequences of your actions of putting the mask back on. I think he wanted Matt to be tortured again by seeing the person who killed his best friend.
Stop being so mean to me, or I swear to God, I'm gonna fall in love with you.
So it's like,
Yeah.
hey, look at the power I have. I could do this easily now. It's only going to get worse for you. Sort of like warning shot sort of deal by doing it. At least that's how I saw it.
No, it's a good shout. It's a good shout. It's telling that he didn't know what Vanessa had done because he would never have put him in Gen Pop so Matt can talk to him if he knew that Vanessa had contracted Dex to
Mm.
kill Foggy. There was absolutely no way that Fisk would let that happen.
So I think that was like sort of our first sign that like Fisk definitely did not have any part to play. But yeah, I liked that scene a lot. My only issue with it was a bit of like a continuity thing,
Mm.
like between the two shots where it's like Deck's face and then like the sideshow of both of them. He was talking, and then the very next scene, his head was like that, and it was like that the very next shot. It was
Mm.
like it was just a tiny little thing. I was like, ugh. It doesn't matter too much, but I was like, come on, like you're a multi-million dollar production. Have some consistency with how you shoot things. Yeah, I do like prison cell interrogation talks a lot in anything because it's just that sort of foreboding vibe. Like you're just like, just something big is about to happen,
Yeah.
and it does.
Matt smashes him against the table, dislodging a tooth. Oi,
Matt smashed him.
get your fucking mind out of the gutter. He smashes his face against the table. It
It's
still
like a
didn't work,
sex
did it?
thing.
What did
No,
he phrasing?
Well, then you better nut up. Phrasing. Because I've swallowed just about as much as I can take from you. Hey, phrasing.
Thanks, Archer.
He injures him. He injures him in the face. He bleeds a lot. And like in the first two scenes in the prison with Dex, they start using that saturated blue color whenever Dex is in his mind palace. I want to say mind palace, even though it's not a mind palace, but if it's focusing on what he is thinking. Like at the very start of the episode, he looks at the rose bush. I believe it's a rose bush, and it's all blue.
Mm.
And blue's Dex's color. Later on in the episode, right at the end, you see that red is definitely Daredevil's color because
Mm.
he's bathed in red a lot. The use of color, although maybe a little bit too saturated for me, but it was good and artful.
Yeah, it added for both the stuff with Dex and towards the end for both of them. It gave the show style, which I feel like the past few it's been just very grey. Even with some bright colors, it still just kind of felt like murky with like no real flair.
Yeah.
And so when I saw the blue, I'm like, oh, we actually got like creativity back. Nice. Keeping on track with Dex, I liked when he broke out of the prison,
Oh,
which
fuck
was like
yeah.
the next time we see him. Like that shit was. Whew.
He's so good. And like,
I did find the tooth like in his teeth kind of fucking disgusting though,
yeah.
because like that I can just imagine like them rubbing together. Like, that's gross. Teeth on teeth is gross. It sounds gross. It looks gross. I don't like it,
Hmm.
especially when it's a loose tooth. Well,
He needed a projectile, you know?
yeah, I know, but then also he shoots it into a dude's eye, and like that's just unsanitary.
It is.
Um,
I don't think he was worried about cleanliness in that instant. I think he was trying to get out of prison.
True, but maybe there's a sanitary way to do it. But yeah, that whole bit was cool.
Yeah, it was a cool, pretty brutal. Just get the pair of scissors, but then split it into two, and then
That was
killing
sick.
each one, stealing some guard's uniform, getting out before anyone noticed. What a G.
I really liked it, but again, I just wish that this sort of stuff was earlier. Honestly, I'd be fine with the episodes 1 to 4 staying the same, but then just like fuck off Muse. Like don't have any Muse stuff and just have like this be episode 5. It's now seeing Dex. It's like in these first few scenes we see him. It's like why haven't you been the main antagonist this entire time? Why did we spend like admittedly not very long with Muse, but why was he built up and why was he in so much marketing when obviously he meant little to fucking
Yeah.
nothing besides just a photo shot with the mask. Being like, look, Ma, I killed a guy.
Yeah, Wilson Bethel does a really great job at Dex. Like he's just a weirdo. He's just a weirdo. Like
Can you specify why he's a weirdo?
I listened to an interview with the directors, and they're like, dude, like Wilson Bethel has got like a really generic face for Hollywood. Let's say he's just a pretty dude, you know? He's just a pretty dude. You see those headshots all the time, and then apparently I don't, because I live in the north of England. We don't look like that. He brings so much weirdness to Dex. Like he's pretty calm, even in the face of getting his head smashed against the table. grinding out his tooth to get a projectile. Stop making everything weird, Tom. Seriously.
I'm not doing nothing. You're the one who's saying the words that have double meaning in the sexual way.
Stop saying shit like that. It's unprofessional. Just want you to stop saying odd shit.
But yeah, I think he does a pretty good job of playing like an antisocial sharpshooter.
Which I think that's where his, as you said, the generic Hollywood face works. Because if you just see him and you don't know he's the villain, like you just think, oh, he's just a random guy. He's just the guy. So I think that's where when you say he gets the weird moments or he goes a bit crazy, it just feels so much more like it feels more prevalent in his character when it happens because you
Yeah.
just don't expect it just from looking at him. And I think I think he plays that really well. And I just wish I got to see more of him this season.
There's not much more of Dex. He turns up at the party, does Shooty McShooterson on trying to aim for Wilson Fisk, which is odd.
I was
I
going
mean,
to ask that, like, why would he shoot for Fisk? Like, is that just like a Netflix Daredevil like carryover?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, possibly. There's three. I feel like the only person who was safe in that instance was Heather. Matt has been a douche to him quite a lot. And I want to ask a question about that in a second. But Matt's had been a douche. Um, Vanessa was responsible for putting him behind bars because of the contract that she put on Foggy, and he got caught by Daredevil on and almost killed by Matt.
Yeah, how the fuck do you still don't know how you survived that?
I really do not know.
Why didn't I die?
You know, maybe he went all limp. That's what you're supposed to do, aren't you?
Just dead fish.
And then Fisk got him moved to Gem Pop and also kind of ruined his life in Daredevil Series 3. He killed the girl that he thought was his girlfriend, but wasn't actually his girlfriend. He was just kind of obsessed with her. So yeah, it looks like Fisk was his target because he generally wouldn't miss, right? And Matt saved Fisk, which like mirrors back to Matt's conversation with Dex in the interrogation room, the visitation room, sorry, where Dex said you should be willing to save your worst enemy, which he was taking as Dex, but later on, Matt saves Fisk from Dex.
Saves him from desk.
From Desk, yeah.
I'm curious to see how that plays out because I don't know why Matt would do that besides the fact that he realized that Fisk wasn't behind everything and I don't know, maybe he wants Fisk to suffer with like Vanessa told him that she went behind his back to attack the person that he just wants to do it himself sort of deal. I doubt we're going to get too much resolution next week because there's a lot of stuff next week apparently that they need to jam in.
Can I just ask one question before we get to the party? Do you think, and this is like tinfoil hat on moment, do you think Matt purposely dislodged one of Dex's tooths?
One of his teeth?
One of his tooths.
Tooth.
Yeah,
One
one
of
of
his
his teeth, so that
Um,
Dex could escape.
I don't think so. I don't. As you've seen throughout this entire episode, he was not in a mental state to be having the well thought out plans. I
That's true.
think seeing the killer of his best friend, and then sort of the goading into it, I think he was just like, and in his mind thinking that Fisk was responsible for setting this up, after also just having Fisk send a letter to his for now girlfriend, being like, "Yo, want to come here?" And after everything, I think he was just like, "Nah, fuck this. I need to hit someone, and I do not feel bad about beating the shit out of you." If it is the case, big brain play. But I would not think so.
I do need to give Katie credit because she did call at the very start of this watching now that it was out of character for Dex to kill Foggy without a reason. So, uh, given credit where credit's due, he was on a contract. He was not on a revenge mission like everyone assumed. So, well done,
Yes.
Katie.
Vindication!
Good job, Kate. You got one right.
Woo!
She probably got multiple right
Yeah.
over the course that we just haven't paid attention to. Before jumping back to the party, when Fisk and his advisors were talking in the office of the mayor, and then he's like, Daniel, you are now the deputy mayor. Like,
Communications.
it's like good job, mate. But I agree with the super, his like media person. Why the fuck is this guy like? How did he get to this point? Like, yeah, I get it. He forced some PR about the task force, but before that, the only other thing he did was fuck up his plans.
Yeah, like he managed to get BB to write a good piece on him. But
That
like
was it.
that BB's not like a mainstream writer, as far as we know, right? She just does the report that everyone seems to hate, except for me.
Is she? But is she on the news in the normal paper as well? Because like they gave like the New York Times, whatever New York like local paper, and it was on the front page. So I think she does have like a proper news writing gig. They haven't explained that very well, of like where her content goes.
I thought it was just a like her own sort
Blog or
not
something.
blog, yeah, but like news site and her like podcast, which with real people in it. Um,
Mm. I mean, what sort of reach does a podcast with real people have?
I don't know.
That's the joke, Ian.
That's the joke.
Staying on, staying on. Daniel and BB then, at the party this time.
That was
Um,
awkward.
so awkward. It feels like Daniel thinks that BB's his girlfriend, basically.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's pretty
And like
weird.
she's like playing into the bit, but it's like she's like just humor. Well, she is just humoring him essentially, and it's just like, I don't care for Daniel Blake too much because I find him a bit odd, but I will feel bad for him because when he finds out that BB is she's just basically using him to get inside dirt on Fisk, he's just going to be pushed even further towards Fisk and become even more horrible. Because as he said now, he's just sort of like running with it. Like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just like doing a bit of what Fisk tells him to do, what he thinks Fisk would do. And I feel like when he finds out that like who he thought was he is a good friend of his or a girlfriend in the Lulu land, um, it's it's gonna be sad and maybe a bit cringe because he's gonna cry or get angry. And I can't take him seriously with how he talks.
I would quite like to see him angry. 'Cause I want to know what that looks like on his face. Uh, I did like this with the how it added to BB's character though, because
Yeah.
been very like a fairly left-wing reporter, and but like playing into the whole Fist campaign because it feels like she has to. But there's something underneath the surface there where she knows what she's getting into, and she's trying to get into the lion's den. Her interaction with the commish um,
Yes.
was pretty good. The way the commissioner was like, "You do know that Fisk was the main suspect in your uncle's death," and she was like, "Why do you think I'm there? You fucking prick! You think I'm an idiot?"
You think I'm an idiot? No. I know you're an idiot.
I enjoyed that, but then also when they showed one of them in the task force looking around and then just sort of like staring in one spot for a bit, I'm like, one of them's dead, or that's how Daniel's gonna find out.
It seems like it's the commish though. You know,
Yeah.
he's got that Roger Murtaugh about him. He's so close to retirement. He wanted to retire
Uh,
anyway, and he's gonna do one good thing before he retires and give the skinny on Fisk to BB. And you know, he's already not trusted by the task force because again, I've got to admit, I was wrong. Powell
they're
not a
dicks.
good guy. Powell
No,
ain't a good guy.
no. We'll get to that. Do you want to get to that now, or do you want to finish up with the?
Let's get to it
Okay.
now.
Because one thing that I noticed, because I know we've talked previously about like the whole like bad apples and good apples and stuff. I think the show finally took a bit more of a stance in terms of like the police, because yes, power dick, like shoving a random dude's hand in a fryer, dick move to do. but then it also showed how powerless like the good apples in the police force are compared to this, where it got let out of control, like with unchecked.
Yeah.
And I just thought, like, thank God, like, no matter either way, you took a stance on this because like previously, regardless of what they're doing with the police, I'm like, I hate it. Just pick a lane, and they've picked a lane, and so I'm happy with that. But yeah, pal big
Oh,
dick.
absolute dick. He was just a media guy. He was just a media guy.
Yeah, he wasn't meant to take pictures, but also, does that mean you should destroy his hand?
No, no, I think that was a bit of an overreaction, Mr. Powell. Officer Powell, sorry.
Please, Mr. Powell, can you please not fuck that guy's hand up anymore?
I know.
Do we think that he got killed after?
Um, Probably not.
Because they have, or because I mentioned earlier that like they have so many lawsuits about the task force with the excessive measures.
Yeah.
Maybe they just go and beat him up some more, or they kill him. Because I think Fisk ain't above killing random people again. Because when Kate Bishop's stepdad,
I don't think they ever got married in the end, but like, yeah, but let's call
yeah,
him a stepdad, yeah.
because when he talked with the woman when we first see him, and he's like, "Oh, where's your other half?" And like the woman's just like, "Oh, yeah, he's busy. He's around." I'm like, "Oh, so Fisk killed him."
He was like, "Have you seen him?"
Where are you? Where are you?
Because I think he was maybe one of the people who like sort of disrespected him in like the fundraising thing before. So I'm like, he's dead. So that's why I'm thinking Fisk is going back to just killing anyone who's in his way.
He tried the good guy mayor type tactics for a couple of weeks. He was like, "No, this ain't working for me. I
He
need."
he he gave it a college try. He gave it like a month max, but it's like nah,
Nah, man, I'll just lean into what I'm good at, eh? Like kidnapping, blackmail,
and killing.
and killing, probably.
Because it's also like he was blackmailing everyone there.
Hmm.
Because you can bring Kate Bishop's step down. He's like, hey, so it would really suck if my task force had to take you out because you were like a sword master or something. It's like, is that a threat? It's a warning. It's like, okay, so you are back to being just a dick fully.
I like the way he retorted, was like, "I'm sure you'll find that even if that were the case, it was a one-time deal."
One time! I tried to kill them one time!
I did it once. It was not real big. Not real big. Well, my last thing about Fisk is like, this is the first time since like maybe episode one where I felt the Fisk story was not an afterthought.
Yep.
Like even if there was annoyances like cutting between him and Matt sometimes, especially in the beginning, his story felt more intertwined with Matt's, or at least with the overall plot, instead of just sort of being cutaways every now and then.
Yeah.
Which I liked, but I think that's to do with the change in direction.
All right, so we're on to the sort of last scene, the the couple's first dance type thing where
Oh,
they.
that was fun. I was gonna say the leading up to it because we kind of skipped over Matt a bit in this whole party so far. I like how he rocks up late and like he's like Heather, he's like, oh, don't worry, I'm sorry. Was it later, right? And Heather's like saying, you haven't been paying attention to me and all this sort of stuff, and then you just have Matt tune it out. It's like, what's Fisk doing as he's standing in front of his girlfriend, just saying, you don't pay attention to me? That was funny. I did get a bit of a chuckle out of that because it's like, are you even listening? Yeah, I'm listening. Sure.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Yeah, of course I'm listening.
Yeah, sure, darling, whatever.
Yeah.
I also liked, again, before the fight, the dance, how Matt sort of locked eyes with Fisk, locked eyes, put his face in Fisk's general direction, and like they locked eyes, and just like how Fisk is like, okay, are we gonna fight? And like you just see Matt is like ready to go, and I just liked that, and how it's like pushed to the crowds and everything. I enjoyed that a lot because it was like sort of like the first time, besides episode one, where it's like, okay, we're gonna actually get something good.
Yeah.
Or really good between the two of them.
Like they start dancing. Vanessa starts to tell Fisk that she'd done something. Fisk instantly knows that she shouldn't say anything out loud because Matt's there, and he got super hearing or something. So he shuts her up, but then Matt cuts in with the
The
dance.
suave blind guy.
Mm-hmm. and rattles. That's not the right way of saying it.
Rattles her.
Okay,
Because
rattles
like he
her.
just says, "I know it's you," and then she immediately tried to pull away.
I don't really know what kind of dance that Fisk was trying to do with Heather because they were just like doing side by side stuff rather than
I think Fisk was awkward in that situation. I think they both were. Just like, hi, patient. This is weird. But I did like even before that when that's when yeah, Fisk said the whole this is what you get. And like when because he knows Matt can hear him, which then brings into like when you said about, hey Vanessa, shut the fuck up.
What were you looking for? Devil.
Don't say anything incriminating right now.
there was a tension there which I really enjoyed because like Matt's on an edge. He could snap at any moment. Fisk is sort of in control, but like
Not really.
yeah, his power's on a knife edge as well, and he knows that Vanessa's in a weaker position than he is against Matt.
Not
So
that we're saying that Matt would, beat up a woman,
no,
but intimidation wise. Because also, before they started the dance, how like speaking how Matt would snap, he gets his cane, she's like, you have to lead, and just smashes it on the tray. It's like, dude, you're just making it obvious that you don't need it.
I've worn dresses with higher IQs.
but fuck Heather, man. Like she just
Just fuck her.
get her. Just I've
Put
been
her in the
saying it
bin.
for like a few episodes now. Matt needs to bin off Heather. Just bin her off. Don't need her.
Yeah, I would not disagree. She
Okay.
served her point with Muse. It's fine. Leave her in the hospital.
She's not even a therapist anymore. Vanessa told her that they don't need marriage counseling anymore. So she's literally just there for Matt now, and she's boring. And Matt needs to bin her off.
But it looks like she does still care about him, maybe a little bit. Because when he gets shot jumping in front of Fisk, and she's like Fisk just kind of goes, ugh.
Yeah.
Like it's like a piece of trash, like because Matt's on him, like and Fisk has him, and then like within 2 seconds, like why am I holding this guy? He just throws him on the floor.
Yeah.
But then Heather does seem to care, I guess.
And there was that final cool shot with like where he's sort of upside down on the dance floor, and it's all bathed in red whilst he's not bleeding out. He only got shot in the shoulder, he'd be fine. But
But
bleeding.
they did the heartbeat again, like they only did with Foggy so far, where like Matt listens to a heartbeat. Oh no, they did it twice with Hector's niece.
Yes. Angela.
But I thought that was neat. I kind of maybe would have liked it a bit more if like this was the second time we heard it and not the third. But it is what it is. I liked the transition from when Dex was about to shoot and like Matt's hearing it and then it does the aspect ratio thing again.
Oh yeah.
And then like it's like the looking through like the lens of a scope with like all blurred around I like that. But then that goes back to like why can this just be the sort of the standard for the season? It was cool. I liked it. I would have loved more of it throughout.
It was. It went to like letterbox format, didn't it?
It was letterbox and went to full screen.
Okay.
Because then like it sort of like had a focus in the center and there was like sort of like distorted on the outside, like if you're looking through a scope.
Oh yeah.
As Dex was looking through his scope to shoot.
I think that's the end of the spoiler talk. Let's go and rate these episodes. Just this one episode. One episode.
One. Singular.
Let's rate this episode.
This singular episode, not episodes. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one a lot more. I know I bitched a bit at the beginning about maybe nitpicky stuff, but overall I think this was really good. Probably definitely one of the better episodes of the season. Because it felt much more in line with episode 1 and the second half of episode 4, which I like. I do think this may be too late to save the season as a whole. Just because, we've only got one episode left. It's like now you're only getting good when you've only got 2 episodes, but still enjoy this as it's on its own. So I'd give this one like probably an 8, which I think is the highest I've given any Daredevil episode so far. So good job.
Hooray! Question mark?
Good job, guys. Good job.
Good job. You did one right.
I would echo some of that praise. like I said, the start annoyed me a little bit with the jumping across between the two scenes between Fisk and Vanessa and Matt and Heather. Um, it annoyed me a little bit that we didn't get that Vanessa ambiguity, but we did get replaced with some really good scenes where she confirmed that she's a bitch and a bad guy.
Did that just happen? Yes. Yes, it did.
But the second half of the episode, anything with Dex, anything at the party, I really enjoyed. It's finally in the second to last episode, feeling like what I hoped this series was going to be. And it's a little bit too late, but I got to get some enjoyment out of this, and this has been an enjoying episode. I am going to be a lot higher than I have been on many of the other episodes on this one. I am going to give it 7.5.
So we're pretty close.
Yeah.
Which, that's 2 weeks in a row that we've been pretty close. Even
Yeah.
because last week we were all sort of bleh, and we're both yay. And from the other two who are not here from their notes are also yay.
It does seem that way. Yeah.
Yays
Yeah.
all around.
Look at us. Hey, look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
So that was Daredevil Born Again episode 8 for the Watching Now podcast. We are going to have a little 2-week hiatus from Daredevil Born Again whilst we go away on holiday. Sorry. It just is what it is, the way timings go. But we will be back for the finale in a couple of weeks. And in the meantime, you can go and look up our back catalogue of Watching Now stuff, which is really good because we're really smart and funny and cool.
Maybe one of them.
But in the meantime, can you like, subscribe, consider becoming a member of Couch Soup, and support independent creators like us. That's pretty much
That's
it.
all, folks.
That's all, folks. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Bye.
That should be the new standard for any Iain hosted episode. Have the jingle. Da-da-da-da-da. Bye.
Welcome to the Watching Now podcast from South.
We're leaving that in.
That's the outtake. I've already got the outtake. Fuck my life. This is a really weird opening. Oh my god.
It is, but you know what? It adds a certain flair to it. It makes it unique. Because this probably will never happen again.
Nope. He grabbed his head
and vigorously smashed it.
And vigorously smashed it against the table, Huzzah. Woo. I don't know anymore, man.
Why, my guy? Why did you have to huzzah?
Well,
you didn't even commit to the huzzah.
I'm probably going to cut it out. It's fine.
No, it's staying in now. You mentioned cut it out. It's staying in.